Many people believe that Super Mario Bros. On the Nintendo Entertainment System was the mascot's first outing, but they couldn't be further from the truth. His primary appearance was actually in Donkey Kong's opening game in 1981. Then he re-emerged in Donkey Kong Jr. a year later, until the plumber eventually secured his own title with Mario Bros. In 1983.
Red, Mario Bros. Was officially released on many home consoles by Nintendo, including the Atari, so of course this will work on real hardware.
And you'd be correct. Yeah, it works. But this video isn't about that. We're talking about this. Huh? Oh yeah, I printed this out because I was not paying these prices for a real cart. Gordon Bennett! This homebrew by Chris Spry reimagines Mario's most memorable adventure for the Atari 2600, which you can download for free from Atari Age.
Oh come on, this was also sold to the public, so surely this will work too.
Well, firstly, stop interrupting me.
Ow!
Secondly, you would think that, but we have a variety of machines here, and Chris's other game has already proven it wasn't quite clear-cut. Will Princess Rescue confirm to be different? Time to find out. Let's go. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. So, without a genuine copy of the game, how will I be testing this? By using either the Uno Kart 2600 or the Harmony Encore Flash Kart. Locate the ROM, make sure the region corresponds to your console, and voila! That was simple, eh? Oh boy, just wait until we get to power later. If you're wondering why the pixels are looking so crisp, it's because I've had this NTSC Woody Atari modded for an RGB signal. While we will come across RF's difficulties soon, I wanted to give you the cleanest picture while I mini-review this glitchy game. What happened there? I may be starting negatively here, as I managed to clip like this on several occasions, and the collision on some of these enemies is abysmal. Otherwise, when I initially entered the first stage and the music started playing, I knew I was in for a joyful experience. Yes, the graphics and colours here are very limited. However, this is marvellous programming for a 1970s home console. The basics are all here. Mario can grow into Super Mario and even into Fire Mario, which I was honestly not expecting. Use this power-up to clear the gangway, or do it the traditional way by jumping on their heads. Most enemies are here, like the Goombas, Koopa Troopers, the Piranha Plant, Bullet Bill, and more, except there are no Hammer Bros. As long as you're Super Mario, you can break blocks from underneath to clear a path, or obtain hidden items such as coins or invincibility. Most players would get comfortable with this game pretty quickly. Nevertheless, it's not completely identical to the NES version. You can't jump onto the roof, you can't slide down pipes, except for those located right at the end of a section, and the level maps aren't one-to-one. And while you encounter BJ at the end of each world, yes, that's his name according to the manual, he's easily tamed and just sucks. Once you've deflated him in 4-4, you save the princess who falls in love with you. And that's the game. I replayed the quest on my NTSC Atari Jr., also modded for RGB, and I had another pleasant playthrough. Except for the aforementioned collision bug here and there, the only concern I recorded was when Koopa Troopers slowed time down while sliding along the floor. But apart from that, it's a great game worth playing. So far so good, but now it's time for POW. And if you've watched my Sippy episode, do you see where this is going? Nowhere, that's where! I had to send my PAL console to be mended by Simon Locke, who did a wonderful job of not only making its power on, but fixing an issue with the RGB chip itself. So, what the heck? Waluigi has taken over! Yep, we're getting this mess where the RGB mod thinks it's an NTSC game because it's running at 60 frames per second, so it loads the wrong palette. We had this issue with Sippy, and there was nothing we can do about it because the button on the back wouldn't do anything. This is part of Tim Worthington's RGB board, but whatever Simon did fixed its functionality. We can now choose the correct set of colours, or even better, disable the auto region checker so it won't think it's NTSC anymore on each startup. You may have noticed the colours are a bit askew, but this is how PAL represents the game as instructed by an emulator. So there you have it, no problem for the PAL system either. Or so you'd think. You see, this particular unit has extra circuitry to correct the region and the palette, whereas a genuine Atari is RF only, with no magical options to toy with. This is where my Darth Vader PAL hardware comes into play. and complications start to arise. My PAL console on a PAL TV couldn't provide the colours for this PAL game. The reason is it's running at 60Hz, which this TV does not support. It only caters for PAL at 50Hz, as that's the region I live in. And remember this device I bought? I don't think it works anymore. It couldn't show the right colours for Zippy years ago, but now I just can't find any signs of life. Lucky for us, I still have my Sony TV that does care for 60Hz, and it produces the anticipated colours we've been longing to see. But hey, remember a few months back in my Halloween episode I made this VCR gag? I paid £18 on eBay for broken junk just to get that shot. It was untested, hence it was sold for parts and was cheap to buy, and I was about done with it, ready to throw it away. But there's an RF input here, and composite out here. We may have just got lucky. So I plugged the 2600 in, composited the signal, and tuned it in. That was a good sign. Once it reached 100%, there was Activision's Grand Prix in all its RF glory. I booted up the Encore flash cart, loaded Princess Rescue, and I don't believe it! Not only have I been able to find a way to directly capture an RF signal, but it supports PAL at 60Hz. I'm also able to use my Sony BVM to play RF consoles with no input delay this way. What a happy accident this turned out to be. I honestly cannot believe my luck. This in turn proves that the PAL version of Princess Rescue may refuse to cooperate with certain displays. But enough of that. Let's see how it fares on the 5200. Gosh, this is heavy. Now this is a monster, but you can't just slot a 2600 cart in and play. You have to own one of these adapters, which makes it an even bigger beast. Still, the add-on only handshakes with certain 5200s like it does with my 2-port Atari. Now, being released for NTSC only, tuning it in a European country wasn't simple. Even my lounge television wasn't picking it up. Regardless of understanding the NTSC standard, the RF band isn't in range for the American frequency. I was hoping the VCR would come to the rescue, yet despite having many territories available to check, this was the absolute best I could get out of it, and let's face it, that's not usable. Ironically, the USB TV device works, and we have gameplay. And for RF, I find this acceptable, but the input lag is disgustingly poor, literally unplayable. At the end of the day, as long as you have the VCS cartridge adapter working for your specific Atari 5200, you're good to go. And did you know that 5200 plus 2600 equals 7800? This is a PAL edition that I have, and of course, it's RF only. Let's make this quick. It almost mimics the Atari 2600 to a T. This TV struggles, this television doesn't, the USB device has gone dead again, and the VCR finds it a breeze to handle. I use the word almost because the picture quality appears to be worse here, but that's probably due to aging components. The takeaway here is as long as you're matching the region, you can enjoy Princess Rescue on the 7800. I unfortunately don't have the NTSC Atari 7800, but I can tell you it will be absolutely fine. My source? Trust me, bro. Does Princess Rescue work on real hardware? Yes, but for PAL users, make sure your display is compliant with 60Hz so you can enjoy the game in colour. I understand I wasn't able to try every single Atari variant in existence, but the evidence is pretty solid. The hardware understands the homebrew as long as your region links together, with the only worry being is making sure your display recognises the signal it outputs. There you have it, another Mario video done. Sorry to cut this outro short, but I hear angry people marching their way, complaining I still haven't done Mario ROM Hacks for the Super Nintendo. Next year, I promise!